Upon entering freshman year, were you nervous for your English course?
Yes, I was very nervous entering my freshman year English course because I feel that I was not uh, actively participating in my eighth grade class, and the transition to freshman English that would prepare me for college was a little overwhelming, and I thought it was going to be much harder. However, when I did enter the class, it took a turn. It surprised me. It was much easier, and uh, more busy work was involved than I originally anticipated. I didn't feel that I got the proper education through it, and that's for that reason it started making me act out in class and not really participate because everything in that we did in class was not relevant.
Do you think not being challenged enough led you to take a more advanced class your sophomore year?
Yes, because the whole challenging part about the first English class was basically just going showing up, and I wanted to actually learn something, so I decided my sophomore year to enroll myself into the higher level class. And upon enrollment, I realized that it would be harder, but had the same I had the same anticipation that I had in the original class, my original English class.
Did you still have the same mindset in this class as you did as the previous one?
Yes, I did have the same mindset because what what changed a lot was we did not do a lot of busy work, and so when you take that away, it was just readings. And from someone who went from the lower English class to the higher English class, no one really did the readings. So I would be very lazy and not partake in the readings, thinking that they wouldn't be on the test. I was very wrong about that. They were on the test and as well on the paper. And essentially, what they did change in that class was take out the busy work. And therefore, my mindset had to quickly change. I almost had to hit the ground running instead of just easing into it.
Were your teachers' teaching styles similar or different?
The teaching styles were completely different. For my freshman class, it was a lot of spoon feeding, a lot of just, okay, here's the information on the PowerPoint, write it all down, it'll be on the test. In my enhanced class, my teacher was more along the lines of, I'm teaching you as a college professor would teach you. So he goes, I'm not going to give you notes. You're going to take your own notes, and you're gonna have to determine what's important and what's not important, and really pay attention to not just what I say in class, but what you do at home in your readings, and be able to think about it when you were writing an in-class essay or when you're writing a research paper.
What was the workload like?
The workload was much different. Like as I said before, the busy work did go away from the first English class. However, a lot of other things changed. The readings that we would read were at a much higher level. We read books that included, for example, like Medea, uh, The Taming of the Shrew, and 1984. All those books were higher level reading, and we depicted them each. We went behind what the author was trying to say and how that is relevant to what we do today in today's society and how they impacted us today. Uh, when I was in my lower class, we never reflected upon it. We read it and watched a movie, and that was about it. So I feel like I got a little bit more from the workload. It was less, but it was more at the same time.
How are the papers different?
The papers were different because they wouldn't necessarily be about the novel we read. They would be about a topic that was happening in history during the time, and we would have to relate the novel and cite it as a source to what was going on, and how there were examples of that in the book that we read during the time, and how the author portrayed what was going on. From my other class, we would do things like we would read a book, we'd write a paper on it, but it would be more of a summary of what happened. It would be 2 or 3 pages, a little bit more detailed, but you never really strive to become a better writer.
Overall, what did you learn in the advanced class?
Overall, in the advanced class, it taught me things like being more active, putting humility in my writing, being a better writer in general, and also paying attention to detail in what happens in literature. It's there's a lot going on, and you should be able to not understand everything, but for the most part, understand the basic general idea. Because in literature, there is no right or wrong answer. It's more along the lines of how you interpret it as a reader and what the author was meant for you to interpret. By taking the higher level class, it definitely did prepare me for writing at the college level, and I personally, I think it was a great triumph for me to jump out of my old class just because it was easy, and it was an easy A that I strive to do a little bit better because I wanted to be a better student overall, and I think I did achieve that from this class.